Well, it were crap, weren't it? There's no way of saying it were crap. I mean, before the tournament, I said to myself, don't worry about it, win, lose or draw, just enjoy football, enjoy it for what it is. Because I enjoy Euros every 2 years, and there's been some great games, hasn't there? And I just thought, whatever England do, final whistle goes, forget about it. There's nothing I can do about it, I can't affect it, so don't worry about it. And at final whistle went, I was that tense, I had to go for a walk, you can feel tension in your shoulders, because I'm not saying I expected us to win it, but I think we've got some good players, and it's the same frustrations, isn't it, that we always have. I mean, where do you start? Well, I may as well start with Phil Foden, haven't we? Just had an absolutely stellar season for his club. One of the best players of his generation, certainly as an Englishman. Shunted out onto the left wing. Now, listen, when you're playing for your club side, there might be injuries now and again and suspensions, and your gaffer might say, well, no, I'm sorry, son, you're going to have to play our day today. I'm like, oh, all right, gaffer. But that's not the case, is it? I mean, it's the national side. There's other quality players in there who that is their position. We've got Cole Palmer. I mean, I love Cole Palmer. Fantastic season for Chelsea. And what I love about him, he don't give a fuck. And when I said that, I mean he don't give a fuck in the positive way. Don't care who he's up against. Don't care who opposition is, or what opposition defenders are. He's just like, right, I'm just going to go and play anyway. Don't care who they are. You got the lad Gordon from Newcastle. Direct. Gets defences on back foot. Pushes defensive lines back, inside, outside. Wins loads of corners, penalties, free kicks. Two lads here. You've got the lad Eze from Palace. All sat on bench while we play our best central attacking player out wide. And why is he playing out wide? Well, there's two arguments, isn't there? One is that you can't play him and Bellingham together. But I think that's a nonsense. I think that's an absolute nonsense. Other teams can do it, I don't see why we can't do it. But the other argument is, well, you've got to have two sitting players. Sorry, they're not sitting players, Jim. One of them's actually a deep line ball player. Whatever, fucking double pivot, whatever you want to call it. They're two sitting players, aren't they? And I ain't even really got a problem with two sitting players. If you played a top team, Brazil, Argentina, whoever, you might have two sitting players. A lot of these teams, really, to play two sitters against them. But then, we don't even put sitting players in there, do we? You've got Wharton, you've got Maino, not in. No, we've put our second choice right back into centre of midfield. I've got no against Alexander-Arnold. He's a good player. He's got a good long pass. And listen, I love a long pass. Very old-fashioned, love a long pass. But when you're playing teams who are showing you probably a little bit too much respect and playing deep, but they're not leaving any space in behind for you to exploit a long pass, are they? But he's not in there for his defensive capabilities because he's terrible facing his own goal. Especially midfield. That's not his fault. He's not a midfield player. And if he was a midfield player, he'd be playing midfield for his club, wouldn't he? Now, I get the argument. Well, when he plays right back or wing back for Liverpool, he comes inside and he makes an extra man and it's part of their floaty system. And But he's not starting in there. He's not starting in central midfield. I mean, back in the day when there were no keepers on bench, your goalkeeper got injured and your gaffer might have to put a centre half in there and he might make a couple of saves. Fantastic. But it doesn't mean he's a central midfield player, he's a fucking goalkeeper. And he's still a right wing back. You've got two lads sat on bench who actually play there and have been playing well there. I mean, he's just so lucky that his second choice right back behind Walker, who's for a number of years been fantastic. That's just bad luck. Sometimes you've got somebody better than you in front of you. But no, so we've experimented with him in there. Experimenting in a tournament. I mean, that's a show on its own, isn't it? So we look imbalanced. And then the Denmark goal, by the way, we're playing two sitting players in there who's coming out to close that shot down? He has a pot shot from 25 yards there, kid. Neither of our sitting players goes to close ball down. None of them goes out to affect him. Nearest man, Saka, comes racing 25 yards in off at wing. It's not his job to try and get there and get a foot in. But he's had to, because they sat on centre half toes at 18-yard box, inviting it. Frustrating. 2 players out of position in a international tournament. Why is he playing 2 sitters? Well, the other argument is, of course, he don't trust his back 4. Now, obviously, he's been robbed of Maguire's services, and that's unlucky for him. And I like Maguire, heads, tackles, proper centre half for me. But he's not here. And the lad they brought in, Gay from Palace, if anything, he gives us a bit more pace to the back line, which should allow us to defend higher up pitch and put squeeze on opposition. Out of every negative, and Maguire not going, I think, is a negative, there's also a positive, and I think that's a positive from it, that we can go and squeeze teams because we've got legs in that back 4. So that's the argument, 2 sitters because you don't trust that back 4. Well, really? Kyle Walker with all his experience, John Stones, players who've played at the top of the game in top flight, winning championship after championship for a number of years. We don't trust them. I tell you what, I'd rather trust them one-on-one to do some one-on-one defending on Kempton or whatever. I'd rather take that chance than have 2 great defenders like that lined up across the edge of their own D while opposition have pot shots from 20 odd yards. I would honestly, I'd rather take that chance. Nah. The good news, and it is good news, is that Southgate clearly knows that his experiments failed. I mean, twice in 2 games he's had to sub Alexander-Arnold off. Now, he's not blind. People will talk about him being negative and one thing and another. But he's been involved in the game a long time. He'll know that's not working. He'll be able to see that with his own eyes. So I think he will change it. And that's a good thing. We can change it with a game to spare almost before knockouts. But will he change it positively? Or will he put in a like for like? The reason I say that is, in my head, and you'll have seen it already because it's a graphic I haven't stopped putting out since before bloody tournament. In my head, we've got it in us. The squad's got it in them to play a back 4, 1 sitter in Rice. He's capable of doing that job on his own, certainly against some lesser teams. In fact, if anything, having extra body in there the other day seemed to confuse him. Are you going? Am I going? Him in there sat. And then you could have Bellingham and Foden in front of him. And with them 2 higher up pitch, it might just stop Harry Kane dropping off onto centre half souls himself to pick ball up. And if he does drop off and you've got them 2 there, when he drops in, they can go the other way and get beyond him, try and break off side trap or whatever. Harder for defenders to pick somebody come up when they've got that head of steam up. So that'd be my team. 4, Rice is the 1, Bellingham, Foden, and then out left, take your pick. Cole Palmer had a brilliant season, Gordon had a fantastic season, Saka on right. Kane up front, I think he looks a different player when you're attacking than when you're deep in your own half, because he comes wandering looking for it when you're defending. But when you're going after teams, he's who you want in your box. There's an argument to put Watkins in there, but I'd keep Kane in if you make it a more positive midfield. And Southgate will know his experiments failed, and he'll know he's got to change it. So that's a good thing. However, do I think he'll go with Rice, Bellingham and Foden? No, I don't. I think he's likely to just take Alexander-Arnold out and put somebody else in. Now, if he insists on playing a 4-2-3-1, for me, I'd stick Wharton or Mainu in there alongside Rice. That's, And I'd take Foden out. I would, honestly. If it were my team, he'd be playing number 10, but if he's sticking with that 4-2-3-1, play somebody there who plays there every week. Play somebody there who knows position, knows what they're doing, is comfortable there. Ain't going to be wandering off. So if he's sticking with that, Maynard or Wharton, Gordon or Palmer. But I don't think he will. I think he'll realise his mistake, but then instead of making it into a positive change, I think he'll sort of go halfway else. The reason I say that is if you look at the 2 games so far, it hasn't been working. He's had to bring Alexander-Arnold off in both of them games. But in both games, he stuck Gallagher in there. Now, Gallagher's a safe pair of hands with ball. He doesn't really try out to adventure. It's 5 yards to feet all the time. And to be fair to him, when he comes on, he's got a bit of energy and he does rat about a bit and try and get a foot in. So I think it's likely to probably put him in. Not for me. I like Maynard because he can receive and play turn on half turn things around and get things going back there. And like I said, Wharton's had a good season. But I think he'll persist. I think he'll keep Foden out there. And Foden's suffering for it. And I think what Southgate's risking by doing that, by not putting him in there, in middle, where he should be, I think he's risking making Phil Foden to this generation what Paul Scholes was to Sven's generation, a wasted talent. What Joe Cole was to Capello's generation, a good central attacking player that you're just going to shunt out there again. And I think Southgate's running risk of making Foden, this generation's Scholes, if you like. I mean, I'll just pop my team up. Pickford in net, Walker, Stones, Gay, Trippier. Rice sat there organising it. Bellingham in front of him, he can get up and down. And the good thing about Bellingham, he's got the brain. If we are coming under a little bit of pressure, he's got the intelligence to say, do you know what, I'm just going to drop him with Declan for 5 minutes, just while we get through this little spell. Do you know what I mean? He's got that in him. And Foden up there in his best position, supporting Kane, hopefully stopping him drop off at front line too much. And then, as I said, on flank, I'd pick Cole Palmer, but equally good. I think it'd be a good shout. Second over side. That'd be my team. Go for it. As it is, I think he'll probably go with a 4-2-3-1. And maybe just Gallagher in for Alexander. And keep rest of it more or less same. A half solution, if you like. Such a lacklustre performance. The thing is, what came across to me is the players didn't seem to believe in it. They didn't seem to believe in it. I've never seen so much walking in an international game for a long time. Lethargic, strolling about. They didn't seem to know when to press and when not to. We dropped off and off and off after that goal. I mean, they weren't any great shakes, Denmark. All fair play to them. They got a result and could have probably nicked it, actually. But they weren't a great side. I mean, the goal they scores 20-odd yards out. Nobody presses the ball. Nobody goes to close man down or try and block shot if they can't get there to win it in time. It's lacklustre. And then there was one or two other things that just little concerns for me. I was talking last week to Father-in-law and some lads at work separately, and everybody was saying the same thing. Bellingham, what a terrific player, And we're all saying what a good head he's got on young shoulders, But I saw some other night in game that I didn't particularly like. And I'd seen an interview probably 2 days before game that I thought, oh. Now the interview, this might only sound a little thing, but it concerned me then. He talked about him saying it third person. Now that's always a worry to me. Interviewer asked him a question and he went, well, yeah, that's the thing about the Jude Bellingham experience or whatever it is, and that always puts me about a third person, talking about his son. So there was that. And then in game 2 days later, he was doing a lot of walking, and an example of that was second half, and there were 5 minutes before and 5 minutes after they'd scored, I think it was just after. 10 yards outside our box, right hand side, in front of Kyle Walker. Tries a daft little turn, but he probably really shouldn't have because he'd been squeezed. Loses ball. Didn't track. If you lose ball, first thing you do is track that man. Lost ball and arms. Oh. to me, that's as worrying as the performance. Little things like that, when players start chucking their arms up in air like that. And I just hope there's not any Bertie big bollocks sneaking into mentality at camp, because they shouldn't be. You've got to go out and earn results. You know, names don't mean anything. You can sell as many shirts as you want with your name on back. You've got to perform on pitch. Chucking your arms up in air when you've just lost ball, that's a concern. I'm not saying that his head's gone, but these little things to keep an eye on, aren't they? I think we can do it. I think we can go a long way in competition. We're lucky it's early. That's a good thing. We've got a win and a draw. We're more or less through. We've almost got this last game as a sort of spare, you know, get a draw there or whatever. Maybe a chance to look at some other players. But for me, I'd just like to see that little switch in midfield from 2 sitters and a 10 to 1 sitter and 2 10s. I think that'll make all difference. I think it'll make a difference to midfield. I think it'll make a difference to mentality on pitch. I think it gets players in their best positions, which is the most obvious thing in the world. No matter if you're playing bloody schoolyard or international football, round pegs in round holes. Another thing, I think it'll give us an impetus to attack and give lads a bit of freedom that I don't think we've seen in first 2 games. And that's important as well. I look at teams and I look at this England team and I think, in my head, I know what I think they should be. I think they should be closing down from front. I think they should be squeezing teams all over the park, getting ball, quick interplay and getting shots away. And they've got players in there with that ability to do that. If you've got Kane up front spotted by Foden and Bellingham, Gordon or Palmer and Saka, that's like a front 5. That's enough to cause any team in the world problems. Any team in the world. And in my head, that's what it should be. But I can't see what it is. I can't see what we're trying to do or what our style is, if you like. When you think about teams through years, they've always got a way. If I think about the Italian teams when I was a kid, 5 at the back, keep it tight, niggle, slope play down, throw-ins, free kicks, you know, professional fouls, pulling armpit hair, nick a goal defender. You knew what they were. You knew what they were going to do. Look at the German teams when I was a kid. Very simple football, not overcomplicated, 2-touch. That's just how they played, and even when they had poorer teams, that never changed. Simple 2 and 3 touch football. Dum, dum, dum. You knew what you were getting. And even if I look at the Greece team that won Euros those years ago, awful team to watch. Attritional football, terrible to watch. Just playing for free kicks and long balls, awful to watch, but you knew them. When you could put them in any kit in the world, watch 5 minutes and go, oh, that's Greece. Because you recognise what they were trying to do. You recognise the way that they played. I'm looking at this England team and I'm like, what's our way? I can't see our way. Look at Scotland teams, 70s, early 80s, 2 little diminutive wingers getting wide, getting crosses in box. You knew them. You knew what. I look at this team. I'm like, what's our plan? Are we going to play it quick? Well, we ain't seeing any of that. Are we a long ball side? Not really. It's just like a collection of decent players, shoehorned in all over the pitch, and that really is my biggest thing. Foden out there, waste of his talent. Like I said, he risks being to this generation what Scholes was to last. 3 lads who've had fantastic seasons, proper wide players sat on bench. We've got a reserve right back in middle of the park. It's the shoehorn. I mean, Soho House or Lancaster Gate, whatever FAR these days, I've just got visions in my mind that they've got like a golden shoehorn on wall that when they get a new manager they take it off and like present it. Here you go. Here's the shoehorn of doom. You can prize all your best players into your 11 even if none of them fit, like a kid hammering a jigsaw piece in that don't fit. We've been there before. That's why it's frustrating, because we've been here time and time and time again. But there is time to amend it. We are more or less through. We have got 4 points. We've got to be happy with that. But there's more to come. There's more to come from this group, and that's why it's frustrating. And I haven't even started on having Trippier at left back. It's not his fault. He's all right foot. We ain't got a choice, have we? But this we're just taking sure. I mean, it's the same mistakes over and over again, isn't it? Michael Owen has his hamstring, about 10%. Don't worry, we'll take him. You know what I mean? As Beckham, broken foot. Don't worry, we'll take him. It's the same thing again, but reliance on, he's knackered, but we'll take him. Why? Why? There were other kids who could have had that slot who'll bring us a balance. Like I said, no against Trippier, I like him, and he's worth having in squad because he can play a number of positions, but you want a first choice in there. Frustrating. Still think we can go on. Still think we can do well if he's got the balls to tweak things and just say, you know what, especially against teams that aren't as good as us, haven't got as good a players as us, yeah, we'll just have one sitter and just let the front five go for it. And let lads at back do some one-on-one defending. And I'd rather chance that. I'd rather lads at back had some one-on-one defending to do. And you know what? Sometimes I think so would they. You know, just defending your 18-yard box for 45 minutes. It's knackering. It's knackering physically. It's knackering up here. You know, like that all the time. When you've got some one-on-one defending to do, and it might be a ball over the top and there's two of you after it, shoulder to shoulder, you enjoy that as a defender, little battle to win, rather than just permanent focus of shuffling about. You know what I mean? And it's a shame because it's been a great tournament. I've really enjoyed it. You know, apart from watching England, obviously. There've been some great games. But what it over there? Turkey, Georgia, fantastic. Two teams really going for it. Been Slovakia going for it. I mean, look at Romania. There's a classic example. Look at that first game against Ukraine. Not a fancied team, Romania. 7-1. Not 7-1 to win the competition, by the way. It's 7-1 to win that match. It's not often you get odds like that, is it? But what a performance. They went out, they went for it, they got after him, got ball forward at quick, got men forward in numbers, and loads of teams have done that. Teams with players that ain't got the quality that we've got in our squad. It's that mentality, and they've got a way of playing. They know what they're all about. They've got an ethos that's instilled in unity. Great competition. And I just hope we can start to be part of that by imprinting our own style on it and our own pressure in games and putting other teams on back foot and showing other people what we can do, you know. I'd like to see that little subtle change in midfield, but if we don't, and I'm not sure he will, if he sticks with his two sitters, then at least put in people who play there regular, you know. Whether it's Wharton and Maynoo. Be Maynoo for me, I like the kid. And Gordon or Palmer out wide, but he can't keep this show on. I mean, it's going to be his last competition, isn't it, Southgate? Well, right, you know. Now he's done well. Nobody can argue with his record. He's done really well. One of the best records ever as an England manager. He's got a semi-final, he's got a final, and he's done that his way. Fair play to him. But surely there's a little part of him inside that's going to look at it and say, you know what? This is my last one. Fuck it, I'm going for it. I'm going for it. That's what I want to see. Chuck it all in. He'll have seen it. He'll have seen it's not working. He'll change it. He's going to keep two sitters though, isn't he? That interview. We haven't really found anyone to replace Calvin Phillips. Well, you've got two sat on bench and try playing without two sitters, fuck's sake. It's got like used to having Jordan Henderson, Calvin Phillips is like, yep. Midfield is all about stopping opposition rather than... Midfield's about fucking creating for your forward play. I said I weren't going to moan. Anyway, have you been enjoying competition? I have, it's been fantastic. There've been some great games, there really has. Speaking of which, one started in about 5 minutes, so I'm off. Let me know which matches you've enjoyed and dare I ask what you think about England?